Today we are going to talk about Vinayaka Dantin. Now we will explain first who is Vinayaka Dantin and how to work with him, what he can do for you. So Vinayaka Dantin is a demonic shadow form of Hindu god Ganesh. He is extremely powerful negative entity which resides in the lower realms. He is comprised of almost entirely pure destructive energy, really dark being, really sinister being. He is appeased by sacrilegious acts and the worship of the material world. The main point of his worship and the work with him is to essentially accumulate negative energy through material actions and travel the left hand path. He is a really powerful guide. He can be used, in my experience, for four different things: strengthening of the magician on all levels. He can be used to protect as well as to cause harm. One last thing which Dantin can be used for is to infuse the magician with enormous amounts of negative energy for the sake of spiritual evolution. You see, you see the inscription on the screen. It is the yantra of the Vinayaka Dantin. And this yantra is used to call Dantin. Now, I advise this only for advanced tantric practitioners who already opened their astral senses through summoning of other negative entities and who are able to presence the spirits easily, because Dantin is not the force you want to offend. You see yantra on the screen. You should draw this yantra during the night, preferably at 2 a.m., while chanting the name of Vinayaka Dantin over and over again. Inscribe the yantra and then chant. After about half of an hour of chanting, the Dantin will be presenced. There is one really important thing you need to know. When you work with the yantras, don't focus on every detail of the individual yantra. Just look at the yantra without focusing on details. Kinda stare through it and chant. After Dantin appears, it's really important to understand one thing. Dantin's purpose is to merge with the human beings in order to help them to understand the Brahma. That is the thing Dantin is willing to do with everyone. However, once you merge with negative entities, it is recommended to keep doing it, otherwise it can lead to negative consequences. So, after you tell Dantin you want to merge with him and you want him to stay with you, you can ask for any material request, preferably the things I earlier listed in the video. So, this is a really short tutorial on how to call Vinayaka Dantin. This is insightful video, it's short for a reason. If you watch this video, I recommend that you watch first my left hand path tantric tutorial. Now, this is the first piece of my work with Dantin, the first part of the tutorial. In other parts of this tutorial, we will discuss more philosophical aspects of Dantin and what he is and represents on a more higher metaphysical level. This first introductory part was only there to show you how to summon Dantin. And now, after we finish that and throw that out of the window, we will discuss more nuanced philosophical aspects of Dantin and some of the higher applications of his mysteries. So, in this part of the video, we will examine more esoteric roles of Vinayaka Dantin and his relationship with Ganesha. So essentially, the Vinayaka Dantin is, according to the Ayan World Foundation and the Hindu Ayanist lore I read so far, the third spirit who works in the lower Talic realms according to the Hindu lore. He is the third chief. So the order of the chiefs is as follows: Lavaliangati Saman and Chudarmani and Adhavana, then Pishacha Mayalkan, and then Vinayaka Dantin. So as you see, Vinayaka Dantin is the third spirit in life. He is the shadow form of Ganesh, a monstrous elephant which feeds off negative energy and brings destruction upon the world. So Ganesha is known as the one who removes the obstacles, who banishes negative energy. But Dantin is known as one who feeds off negative energy Ganesha removes. So essentially they are two parts of the same circuit, two sides of the same coin. It is not clear, however, what is exactly the nature of a connection between Dantin and Lord Ganesha. Does they represent two aspects of one same consciousness or two different beings coming from the same source? It is not clear. However, what is indeed clear is that according to Ganesha and Dantin themselves, they cannot be truly seen as separate beings. Dantin and Ganesha are kinda inseparable yet separated at the same time. However, this doesn't mean that application of Dantin and Ganesha are similar. Applications of Dantin and Ganesha are really different, and their manifestation in the world differs profoundly. Dantin brings difficulty while Ganesha removes it. Dantin brings hardship and negative emotion while Ganesha removes it. Dantin brings bliss in tantric form, in tantric sense, while Ganesha brings bliss in a conventional sense. Ganesha is the god which fundamentally makes your life easier, while Dantin will inflict you with all kinds of maladies in order to make you stronger. However, it needs to be understood that Dantin and Ganesha essentially have the same goal for the aspirant, to make them spiritually powerful and enlightened through different paths and different ways. There is also a third form of Ganesha, which is known as Vinayaka or Vinayaki, and it is a tantric goddess, one of the 10 Mahavidyas, and that form of Ganesha is essentially a crossover between Dantin and conventional form of Ganesha. So, what I also received as a vision, by the way, this last part is unverified personal gnosis. Is a mythology where essentially Ganesha was first a normal being, and then Shiva accidentally cut his head off and then put elephant head on him. And so that's how Ganesha got his elephant head. Well, in the moment in which Lord Shiva put the elephant head upon the lifeless body of Ganesh, that's where the first seeds of Dantin were planted, because essentially at the moment in which Ganesha was created, he felt enormous negative emotion towards Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva beheaded him. But this is just my personal vision. Ayanist lore has a different interpretation. They claim that the Vinayaka Dantin, the negative form of Ganesh, was created by the divine sacrificer who uttered holy verses and holy mantras and created the Dantin from the sacrilegious flame by the power of the left side of the Brahman. This is Dravidian Ayanist lore. So then again, in this case, I would put my personal gnosis below as less compared to the Ayanist teaching. Also, it is said in the Ayanist lore that Vinayaka Dantin is not simply a dark form of Ganesh. He is a manifestation of negative energy as a whole, and every single devotee of Vinayaka Dantin, negative form of Ganesh which brings agony, is essentially one scale upon his skin. So Vinayaka Dantin in that sense would be some form of totality of negative energy incarnated in a form of Ganesh's negative aspect. And he would represent a negative hive mind to which all of his devotees are connected. Also, there is a name of famous Vinayakadantin devotee known as in scripture. I am not sure am I pronouncing the name right, but I think the name is Zananatin. Zananatin is essentially the prime disciple of Vinayakadantin, Ganesh's shadow form. And he is known to be bewitched by Dantin according to the Lord. What it really means is that negative energy intoxicates and it gives you different perspective of the world. It gives you different perspective of the universe. And in that sense, to the outside observers, the one who is devotee of Vinayakadantin, the one who is swimming in the sea of current of negative energy, to outside world looks like he is bewitched, but within himself he is experiencing, the devotee is experiencing the negative side of the Brahman, and he is experiencing bliss and agony at the same time, and he is having a spiritual ecstasy. But to the outside world, he is observed as bewitched and insane and crazy. So, this is my interpretation of the Dantean lore, and I will analyze a lot of more things in the videos to come, but let's now turn to the part 3 of this. So in this last part of the tutorial, I will explain in more significant detail how to summon Dantin and what to do. So you will see yantra on the screen and you will see chant on the screen. So you should wait for really late at night, preferably 2 a.m. But if you cannot do it at 2 a.m., do it some time later in the night. After 9 p.m. is when the energies of the lower entities, of the darker entities, become much stronger. So my advice is this. Okay? Draw this yantra while chanting the chant Vinayaka Dantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan. Vinayaka Dantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan. Vinayaka Dantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan. Vinayaka Dantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan. Over and over again. And look into the yantra you drew without focusing on the details of the yantra. Just focus or just stare in direction of the yantra without thinking about it and chant. After some time, depending on your spiritual level, you will feel the presence of Vinayakadantin. Once you feel the presence of Vinayakadantin, you will address him with the following words. O demonic form of Ganesh, the Lord of the lower Talic realms, I call you to merge with me and remain here. I call you to become one with you. Then his energy will become much more intense and he will start penetrating your energy field. While this happens, keep chanting. Once you felt that the Vinayakadantin significantly penetrated your energy field, you should ask him for something material. This ritual should be performed every night in order for merging with Dantin to be facilitated. And many adversities, but also the blessings of negative energy will come in your life. And the material things you requested will happen. You simply need to keep merging on a daily basis. actually nightly basis. We don't think for this to happen. And once again, I need to repeat the chant. The chant is Vinaya Kadantin Atairankuyan Enisuya. The material request should be given only after merging request. Once you start merging, my recommendation is to not stop doing it. Keep merging with him or other negative entities and keep doing it. There is also one other thing which I need to say. Negative energy which you absorb can bring depression and anxiety and all forms of illnesses and maladies. So in order to avoid this from happening, while you are summoning Dantin on a nightly basis, you should once in 3 nights give him alternative version of the request when he comes to you. Alternative version of the request is the following. Vinaya Kadantin, the dark demonic form of Ganesh, I call you to attune me to all of the dark negative energy I already possess. Once you say it, he will start attuning you to the negative energy and preventing negative energy in your system from calling and causing illnesses and maladies into your life. It's really fundamental to alternate between requests for merging and the request for attunement and resonance. So, 2 requests for merging, then 1 request for resonance, 2 requests for merging, 1 request for resonance, and alternate like that the routine. After you asked for merging or resonance in the same ritual, you can also in the same ritual ask for material gain of the kind you wish, or for increase of physical strength. So yeah, I explained in a solid detail what to do and how to summon him. So once again, to elaborate, draw the yantra, and while you are drawing the yantra, you chant Vinaya Kadantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan. After you finish drawing, you simply stare into the yantra and chant until the Dantin comes. When he comes, give him one of the 2 requests presented in this video, and then after you ask him for some of those requests, you can also ask him the same ritual for the material gain or increase of physical strength. Thanks for watching and see you tomorrow. Everything you need to know is on the screen. Kadantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan Vinaya 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 Kadantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan Kadantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan Vinaya 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 Kadantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan Kadantin Atairankuyan Enisuyan Vinayakadantin 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 Atairan Koyan Enisoyan